All right, everybody, here on a Thursday, and James, you were the first one, so you win volume 3. And I just want to mention about all those books we gave away over the weekend. You need to contact Miss Stephanie on the Discord. How do you do that? You become a basic member. Go to harmonictrader.com, and then once you're in as a basic member, because all you need to do is sign up on the website right there, register now, email only, and then go down here. The Discord link is at the bottom, number 4. Click on that and then look for her. She's in there. And some of the other mods will help you folks that are new. But that's the place to start. Even if you are new, welcome. Some people have asked me about the books. Yes, they're all available right here under the number 2 section. Just click and download and start digging in. Most people ask me which book to start with. I think volume 3. I think most people know enough about the basic pattern measurements. But of course, volume 1 has got all the details. Volume 2 has got confirmation. Check those out. How's everybody doing today? Big shout out to the chat. We're getting back to it today. Full week next week. And we're here, Monday, Tuesday, and Thursday at 12 noon. So as we get into now and the end of the year, we're dealing with a tenuous situation on the major markets. Take a look at NASDAQ. All of these are trying to just bounce. You've got some levels down here, but you're trying to bounce. And any rollover, it's just not that impressive, quite frankly, despite those first 2 days. Keep an eye on this area. 11,000 for NASDAQ 100 is it. That's it. There's nothing below that. And of course, it's just one of 2 scenarios, which I think you see people falling into. Either people are looking at the short-term scenario and saying, okay, this is a valid retest and we've had enough of all the issues. That's going to be about it. Maybe. It doesn't look like that. But if we just look at our simple retracements, essentially we're dealing with a 50%, 50+% retracement already. Why would we not get the eventual ABCD? There's A to B leg, and then C to D down to that 886. And I think it all triggers here. It all triggers at these lows. Give it a couple weeks. Plenty of time here, but this is still, this would have to do a lot to change the read, the overall read. So, hey, what's up, J-Togs? What's going on? I saw you in the chat in Vegas. Great to see you guys. Bud Thompson, Kasim. What's going on, everybody? Man Bear Pig, you were there too. Thanks for showing up. That was a lot of fun. Anyway, look, are we going to have fun the next 6 months? Or are we going to finish what we started here? That's the whole segment. You're either stopping at 11,000 or you're going to go to 7,800. There's no in between. That's why this macro climate at the moment, and especially this. So this is probably the most important chart, period, on any market is interest rates. 10-year yield, to be specific. And we are at the 366, above the 366 target. What's happening here? Are we rolling over? What are the indicators doing? Again, we've been monitoring the situation. We're trying to get an inflection right there, a little mini inflection where you have the initial peak and then a secondary peak that could be trying to put in a divergence up at this level. I still say wait for one weekly bar. You cannot even think of anything going to stop until you get a bearish weekly bar. So that's, be mindful of this chart. Be mindful of the fact that if we decide to continue higher, let's say something happens and we go back above towards that 4% yield, that will kick out the tires. That will kick out basically break the supports across the board, and then you'll see this thing, I think, flush. those last 2 days, those first 2 days of the month, Monday, Tuesday, that's over. Now let's deal. It's just, yeah, I hear you guys. A couple good comments in the chat um, about the check back here. Well, I think you're mentioning this. I did want to say this. The HSI has not tested yet on the daily. We haven't actually for interest rates. I don't know if that's what you're referring to, but I did want to make a comment on HSI for the 10-year yield. The fact that we have this unusual oversold daily reading that just that completed on yesterday's close. So if we see a continuation here, don't be surprised. And again, that does not work well for equities. We see a breakout. We see this thing continue to go day over day from that signal. Then this is going to continue. And then we would default to the much larger levels that we've talked about before. Anywhere under this, that recent yesterday's low, 362. That's bump your support as well on the whole interest rate scenario. Because with a setup like this, little pullback, trying to trigger a continuation, that should not take out these lows at all. Probably the other good thing to wait for. If you're looking for a turn, I'm not. I'm monitoring it closely, but you wouldn't even consider it until under 360. That's not what it's saying. It's saying it wants to go higher. It wants to continue this march that started in August from 250 now to 390, back to 4. That's historic action. Let's jump over to crypto, and I think it's pretty clear what the major markets are going to, what they're presenting us with. Really squeezed in the zone. Are you going to hold this? I don't know, but what is holding, trying to hold, Bitcoin at 20,000. I mentioned this yesterday. We have some smaller patterns developing in crypto where you have these smaller harmonic patterns generated by the software, okay, now completing, and in some cases 2 of 2s on the daily within this larger zone. What it means is that you only tighten stops up even more. You see that kind of a scenario, it reduces the room for error. You know, we already did, there was the completion. Okay, that was back in early September of the shark. In reality, did a quick reaction thrust up. Now back down. No confirmation yet, but again, notice the hops at 18,000 have not really hit anything corresponding to this level. So that's maybe explains why it's still holding up, that you're wanting to form some bullish patterns, but it's going to take more work. This would be a type 2, by the way, and the type 2, by definition, run that trend line. It's the greater of the trend line, target 2 at 24,427, or a failure under the hop, under 18. I mean, 18,000 on Bitcoin, the further we get along, becomes even increasingly more important, where, hey, we fail that, as I've said before, like the macro markets, we fail these lows, you run that gap. And it's a pretty clear small or large scenario here. You've got the small setup, which you can be careful on, trade aggressively, not expect a heck of a lot if it doesn't work out. And I mean, over the next like 3 weeks into the end of the month, we can't get any progress off of here, step aside. And we'll look for the much larger development, which would be lower and probably later in the year. A couple more of these, because there are a few. I think I mentioned this one, Cardano, flashing another, like Bitcoin, a little shark, but we just got confirmation, really the first confirmation that we can see. That's around 41, 42 cents. I think I mentioned that on Tuesday. Give me something here. Again, it's really not a lot to go on yet. I'd love to have a check back. Basically, retest the 40, 41 cent level and see if you can get some kind of bounce here. I'm not, I think with a chart like this or even the weekly chart, which is, take a look. Another either stops here or, not a heck of a lot of room other than retest the obvious lows and another shoot the gap kind of a thing where that's your last ditch move. Doesn't look like it wants to do much off of that 40 cent level and come back and what, go to 20 or 10 cents? That's the issue. That is the issue. I think you'll see it crack first before it flushes if that's going to happen. Looking for the breakdown. I mean, you're kind of getting it on the weekly chart. This week has not, look at Cardano. The last 2 weeks breakdown at very low levels does not really show us much demand. Not to mention, look at from back in March and May. Last time, a few times we have dipped down into this 40 range. We sprouted right back up. Not this time. Not since July, August. We've been down here kind of spending more time down in these low 40 levels. Take a look at XRP, which interestingly, okay, this is one of the good scenarios. Okay, this is one of those monster patterns that finally has given some progress off of a type 1 reaction. Beautiful bat pattern on the weekly. All of that is essentially 37 cents, and that should be a floor. I'm more of the opinion that if this is really going to get going, you should be on a 1 bar week over week continuation to target 1. Just calling it straight up. Forget all the news narrative and everything else. If this is a for real type 1, we're going to get out of the zone and do it. You sure could take 30 weeks to do so. But from this point, you should see higher lows. Remember, in an uptrend, higher lows are more important even than higher highs. But definitive continuation. Give it within the next, I would say, 8 to 10 bars, 10 weeks. Close it out to the end of the year. This thing should trend higher. Keep an eye on it. We're not allowed to in the United States, but, for everyone else. Its kind of cousin there is the stellar lumens. And stellar lumens have this. Check it out. Another pattern, beautiful crab going sideways. So it's got me thinking about longer term implications because, it could go sideways for a long time, especially after such a bear market. But you are to the right of the downtrend. Your first trigger to the right of that downtrend was like 10 cents, and I expect that to hold. Maybe you bounce between 12 and 10, but if you're into crypto, you're looking for something longer term, this is setting up like a whole bunch. A lot of different markets that we've seen. Here's that Chili's. Nice crab pattern. I've been done with this for weeks. I still say this is in a type 2 return, maybe taking more time, but it's kind of like that. I think this spent like 80 days sideways. What was that? 80 days sideways. And then why not take a peek at Coinbase or some of these others? What's going on with these? Because check it out. Coinbase, like interestingly enough, like a lot of the individual coins, did give us beautiful big pattern that put a floor, especially at the hop level. This is at 48. Take a look at this. Pattern completion was 117, but no confirmation. Nothing after the pattern that came in until exactly at the hop at 48. Now, heck of a move to go from 48 to 100 and change. That was a big spike, 115. but you never got out of the zone. You never got above the XA level, and you're now, I feel, contained between the hop and the XA. From that hop, you're stuck in the zone. So let's look for bullish triggers like we just had at 60 to kind of give you sprout a little rally, sprout a reaction. In this case, you've got a shark pattern back at 88 or 90. Pretty interesting stuff. At least that's in a position to do a type 2 return. Keep in mind, keep in mind that this possibility, if we're going to do a mild hold here, and markets are going to try to, they're bouncing around right now. I mean, Nasdaq's minus 50. It did go positive. They were lower in the pre-market. Dow's down 215. S&P's down 25. They tried to rally this back. They're rolling them down again. So expect reaction territory. I don't think we're going to get any explosion, really, even consider that possibility until we get out of this month. Keep an eye on it. Carthago, you're saying the dollar yen's breaking 145. Yeah, we can look at that. That's another, listen, dollar index and interest rates are going to tell us what's going to happen, especially with that 10-year yield where it is at specifically 366. That rolls over here. Okay, you finally have something, but no, I mean, I'm completely on alert for the breakdown. There's a few things that have set up. I'll get into in a second on the other platform like Microsoft, but we're still in a waiting game here. We've got to get through like the next 10 days, 10 sessions. So definitely. Miss Stephanie's in the house, and she is actually here. Just a quick shout out in the chat. Stephanie HT, that's who you want to contact if you win a book. So we're going to give away 2 more books today. I usually give away 3 every Thursday. So I will do that, give that away in a few moments, and then give the last one out towards the end. And our first winner was James. But James, if you already have volume 3, let's get you a different book, please. And people that have won a book, I'm going to ask you, please, just don't answer. Let some other people win some books. I'd appreciate it. Drums for Dave, thank you. What's going on? Hey, George, what's going on? The Harmoniholic is here. Not yet, Harmoniholic. Yeah, we'll put in. It'll be the first person to do V3. I'll say that, but you can't. You have to put in V3 after I say. But let's finish up a couple of these charts because Coinbase, trying to get the sense for is crypto dead? Is crypto done? Here's your beautiful. Okay, 1 second. They got lost the connection. So I think we're back now. Thank you. And that's not been fun. Anyway, look, Decentraland, Mana. I think this is another situation, a smaller pattern inside the larger zone, but that's it. You don't hold that 66-cent level like all of them. You're going to shoot it all the way back down. Come back and retest the lows, 44, or even go back further on some of these time frames, like, you're going back to the 30s. It's not in a spot where it's ready to do anything. Nothing with HSI. Here's amplified RSI. This would be the indicator on the weekly I'd need to see pop up. That would have to get above 50 for this thing to do anything. So pick them closely. There are a few I'm looking at. I'm certainly looking at that shark in Bitcoin. For Ethereum, I think I'm going to stay strong to the BAM. The bad action magnet move, the whole 886 retest at 1,000 inside of this larger zone. You've got this, you've got a crab pattern here. We know all of that. It did a reaction coming back for a secondary test. Listen, we did hit the terminal bar retest, the XA level. It's just that we've got this smaller bat pattern, all of that at 1,000. Unless something dramatic develops to change that game, I'm not going to wait on that one. Just be patient. Yep. The other one is, what's the other one? Oh, it's Binance Coin. How are we holding in with Binance Coin? 293. Because remember, this has the bat pattern almost, depending on the data feed again, because one or two of the data feeds were exact, hit target one exactly. I'm inclined to say that that is a type 1. And then we come back. Now we have a daily HSI on Binance Coin. What's it going to do? We already checked back and we retested yesterday's peak. That was at 296.50, 296.49. I'm going to put in another bearish candle. I would be monitoring Binance Coin. I don't own any Binance Coin, but I'm watching that every day to see if we're going to get another reaction down. And could that be the type 2 that takes us to target 2? By definition, that's where we are in the framework. So closely monitoring all of that. Now, you compare that to one or two of the mining stocks, as I've been saying, like here's Mara. And I, can't help but notice that this is really doing a head and shoulders. There's the right, there's the head, and here's here left and then right shoulder. And you broke the neckline. Kind of, I know we have oh, here you go. So here is they've got it. It's like this. Another sign for me that says if this fails and this rolls over, you're going to come back and retest lows from the June levels. So watching all of those crypto stocks, same with Riot, same with MicroStrategy. I'm not really there yet. Some people have been asking me, are those a possibility? Not yet. I mean, I would want to see some kind of retracement pattern down here. Riot blockchain, look, another beautiful crab pattern, just kind of doing a harmonic dud. We talked about that in Vegas of why the harmonic dud. Yes, it can be frustrating, but it can save your butt. Because if you scratch it out or you're patient, once we get past that certain time, like here's completion. Now count 30 days. All right, where's confirmation in that 30 bar window? Almost right there on the terminal bar, but no development here whatsoever until much lower, and even again use the trend line into the zone. You got to break some kind of trend line. Break the trend line, give you a signal to the right of it, somewhere in the 550, 650 from a larger perspective is where I would look for that to retest. I just think it's going to take more time. There I go, saying more time, but it's the truth. Sure, let's talk really quick. I mean, we're kind of in between crypto and tech here, but what we're really trying to nail down are the key markets that are going to show us the way. Here's Microsoft. Okay, bouncing this week. Why is it bouncing? It's a type 2 off the crab, and we did get confirmation. So I'm watching this closely. And one of the things I'm going to be featuring, some of the new segments I'm going to roll out on an education basis are things that I look at for HSI. And some of the things that I want to notice on the individual checkbacks I think will help. Obviously, we're always waiting for the pink arrow to generate, and that doesn't happen until the bar actually closes. And then we look for the checkback, the retest of the extreme low. Now, one thing that can be helpful, we're deep in a zone here and it's been straight down, but when we check back, we have a bearish candle, we have a bearish candle. All right. even after the check back, it can be helpful to wait for one or even two candles in your direction. So we have a bullish HSI, we get a check back, and then finally we get our first bullish candle. For a while I've been saying that 241.60, that is our minimum structural low level support, minimum level, and looking between hop level and 1618. That put us smack in the middle around 232. So I think there's plenty of time here. This is still definition. It's early because it is a type 2. It's the retest. Ideally it looks like this. This was the first move back in June. In this case, it went from target 1 all the way to target 2, and there's your first HSI on that reaction. Sometimes that's people ask me, how do you get, what are signs to look for to get from, say, terminal bar or confirmation trigger to the targets? Sometimes you just need to wait for that counter trend HSI signal. You didn't get it until you got all the way to target 2, which was here. Okay, back down. Now, I think we all can agree that's a retest of that minimum level. And on that retest, expected return move, the reversal target is 287.51 to target 2. Regardless if type 1 goes to target 1 or target 2, doesn't matter. I would think if you break out above 250, this has got legs. And this could be a situation where if we can get some strength, let's see what the market's doing now. Minus 30 right now on the NAS. I'll go to the QQQs in a second, but we got to watch for, even if it's a short covering rally, something that could poke pretty hard if we break above this 2-day range. Not quite there yet, but it would shoot the gap. I mean, the way I would be looking at that is you break above 250, you're targeting 270 calls. You should be able to get them pretty cheap. Keep an eye on that one, and keep an eye on this one. This is another one. Really, we have been on these type 2 returns. We have to respect the mechanics, the harmonics. So Tesla's been a little confounding because we were surprised it was able to manage to stay above 300, but all it did on the weekly was kind of bounce above target 1. And then once we got the rollover breakdown, okay, this thing has been just day over day, week over week, dropping lower. 886 at 208 is our target. So now we are 30 away from that. We were 70, 80 away not too long ago. Here's the daily. Same pattern is going to show you that we had a back-to-back, and we had this bearish deep crab right up towards target 2, ideal confirmation, type 2 retest, and then back down. Same pattern shows us 208. That's another one where, again, you want to watch the market bottom. Let's hit those levels and then do a confirmation with a substantial reversal, 3-day reversal. Keep that in mind too. If we want to see some kind of major turnaround, I want to see a 3-bar reversal in pretty much anything before I think that's really going to get going. So 3 bars from today, 3 bars from next week, until you hit that 208 level, which would be ideal. I mean, this weekly retest, I think, would be a gift for investors in general within the long-term trend. If you're a big believer in Tesla and you think it's going to be the powerhouse for the rest of the decade, this is it. You're looking at basically the 208 level as a massive trend continuation Gartley or bat pattern, excuse me. That's really what this is lining up to be. This is go off the 2019 low. It's something like that. Intersect the trend line with the pattern and then have that come back and then launch from there. That's the idea. That's the idea off of this pattern, off this type 2. There's a number of them that are shaping up like that, Tesla's probably one of the best of all the tech. Uh, One or two more. Here's something that is a new position for me. It's a new. I think I mentioned this. It was a three ideas from way back. This is Palantir. Okay, we've got a shark, couple of different things. You got a big. I mean, the weekly it was. Oh, you got an HSI on the weekly, but that's not the one I'm looking at. It's the shark, daily shark. Still basically anywhere in this $8 level. 790 is the big 886, and looking for this to do a move back to about 965, $10. That's a fairly new one. The other new one, new idea. Just these are not all of them, but one or two of our premium ideas for gold and silver members. Just to show you guys what we do with the Harmonic Trader membership is this daily Johnson and Johnson. Okay, another beautiful Gartley. Another pattern, the way I'm looking at this, does not move like a rocket at all, but excellent formation for trend continuation. But that's, again, look at the number of patterns that have yielded great inflections. I would love to see this thing rock all the way back to 180. But I think from this 160 area, 162, we can get at least 10, maybe 20 up to above target 2. You got a few things going on here. This prior bearish pattern as resistance, definitely bullish, and the profit targets as support. 162, almost there. Yeah, J&J, that's a good one. And you have confirmation. You got a lot going on there. It's it's a decent sign relative to say some of these bigger cap Dow type stocks, and the Dow is something I'm looking at more and more than I've have in the past because we do have some back-to-back daily patterns. We knew about the big deep crab, and amazing that came all the way back to the hop level at 288. We were targeting that for a while on this return, and it gave us a butterfly in between. So just be mindful. I said this on Tuesday. We could get this kind of chop before we try to do something larger. Maybe retest this Dow Diamonds. This thing's only trading is at 300. Target one's at basically 310, 309.97. And I think we all can agree this is kind of a last ditch dead cat bounce, but at a minimum, this dead cat bounce should at least go to target 1. I'm watching today's action. I think today it's 12:30, 12:37. About 3.5 hours or so till the close. I just got a feeling they might try to bring this back. You're only down 22 now on the Nasdaq. Keep an eye on this thing. I think what it could start is a bigger short covering rally. People just maybe capitulating that, oh, maybe the October bounce is starting early. I don't know. But I would say this is a reaction that started 2-3 days ago. And now we're looking for at least objective target 1. What about a 3 drives to a bottom pattern? 3 drives? Yes, I mean, look. The 3 drives to a pattern needs to be equivalent, symmetrical, not always clear to distinguish. I mean, that's the problem with 5 waves in general. How do you exactly quantify? In my opinion, with the harmonic patterns, at least you've got a label, you've got a ratio on every segment to differentiate. And so the M and W's will repeat. If this was a deep crab and another deep crab, you could say that's a 3 drives. But I'll assess the diamonds, what's going on in between these 2 levels like this. And this is important for everything, for the major markets, for crypto, tech in general. Here's, again, another situation of repeating patterns. JP Morgan Chase on a daily, not really doing much. Last pattern was actually bearish. And get perspective on these because JP Morgan can't hold. These all can't hold. I think I've mentioned this before. under, what's that, under 105, under 102. You're trying to fill this gap, which is almost, yeah, did you? You filled that prior gap. But I would say this is already kind of to the point where you're going to bam it down to the 886, bad action magnet move, more like 90. So you have some patterns that have lined up quite well. Microsoft, Tesla, still lower, others that have a ways to go. And don't forget, take a look, semiconductors. Let's go to SMH. Mentioned this. Someone brought this up on Tuesday. Okay, SMH. This would have to absolutely put in a bottom here. You've already taken out the low. That would have to be a shakeout. It does not, those candles are not representative of a shakeout. Your daily, we talked about this, is a retest of this beautiful deep crab. So absolutely, I'm respecting the type 1 that completed back in June up to July. Perfect reaction down for 2. Now there's HSI coming in. No check back just yet, but give this a little time. Still in a downtrend off the top. I mean, that's, look, it's like that. Trying to get down that rough trend line. That's why you're bouncing for right now. I mean, these couple of days, I'm really concerned about what happens after today into Monday or Tuesday of next week. You really need to continue day over day from here, and do a perfect type 2 without a check back. I mean, you would really, what you need to see is a close above, what's that, 202.90, 203 for this type 2 move. That's why this retest is so critical. You got to keep an eye on that. That's we've got a few of these. Here's Micron. Mentioned this. I should go to the other platform as well. But again, look, deep crab into the June lows, almost a perfect type 1, and then you come back with another bat. The hop holding at 49.50. That's it. I mean, the entire downtrend, the entire bear market is at stake at under 49. So you're scraping that. You're 54 currently. And look at HSI. HSI looks like it's about to roll over again. Some of these semiconductors, if they don't do fireworks by Friday, tomorrow into Monday, I would expect this to roll over. And then you're back into threatening the lows from the prior September lows and June, July lows. Again, we looked at this last week. Intel has really languished. I mean, that's an ugly chart. There's an ABC down there. We have a daily HSI that did trigger, is trying to check back now. But here's the weekly. You're trying to buy a knife. I should just remove all the patterns because this one looks like just wants to do a decade retracement. Let me remove all the patterns. All right, how do you feel about that chart now? Took off all the patterns. Let's just look at simple ratios. This is Intel going back to the 2008 low. Trading 27 has a bat formation, this B point theoretically. 43, that's could be a bat. That's around $18. When these things don't line up or they're not quite where they need to be to, you would love to see a bat pattern complete, sure. But that number's there. It's not here. And you've had how many weeks down? 6, 7 weeks straight down. Really down all year. Again, something like Intel, that would have to turn around. The other one is NVIDIA. I think when we identified this under 165, breaking down another one where you have to go back long term. What are the obvious support points? Because you're already back. There's the low. There's COVID low. There's last year. trying to poke through. No pattern formation. If we go to the daily, we do have something there. Hold on. Hold on. Oh, I think I took that up. Messed that up. Let me bring that up on another screen. Yeah, here, let me go over here. Here's NVIDIA. There you go. So nice pop off of 120. I mean, it's a 10% move. Nothing there yet. Nothing even can go back to the, as we were saying before, all-time 886 from, what was it? Yeah, all-time 886 is, as a reset, $43 with nothing there. Go on the daily. There you go. Failed bat pattern on the type 2 under 174. Just not anything that you can say, hey, there's an opportunity here. And the semis are starting to look like crypto like 6 months ago, where you had this obvious downtrend. And until you break that downtrend, I mean, even if I cut off, no, I don't like to do that. I don't want it. You have to encompass each peak. And so this has a lot of work until it could be an opportunity to the right of that downtrend. It's a while. I mean, just really critical spot. If it's going to do anything off those last 2 days, it would have to, I think, explode now and continue and give you type 1, type 2 reaction reversal. Here's, again, go to the Qs. I'll show you something interesting on the Qs too. All right, down there around 280. You know, there's no turning back. There's no even rolling over. If you come back to 273 and try to refill the gap and then go, chances are you're going to fail. I mean, there's just not any kind of room for that. And take a look at the TQQQ. I thought this is that ProShares Trust. All right, similar to the Qs, but slightly bigger bat pattern. And this has more of this is the Ultra Pro. I think this is the 3X. And so you need real movement, okay, acceleration to either side to get this vehicle moving. But 2289 and you're at 2245. Anything below the recent low from 3 days ago, again on this, you're under 18. You go back under 19 or you're under 18. That was another sign that this thing is cooked and goes back and does full 886 type stuff, which is, we're getting there. It seems like we're getting there slowly, one market at a time, where the 886 off the COVID low is going to get us. And that's COVID 886 is 1775. So if you got targets like that still lower, you're not going to get a bounce yet. And then what about short ideas? Well, I mentioned this Netflix. I think this, of all of them, no confirmation yet. We might get it soon on the retest above, was it 252? Still not there yet. Now, if you're bullish, you want to see this market turn around, Netflix has to annihilate that pattern. It has to do something really special, massive breakout without giving bearish confirmation above 252. I mentioned this on Tuesday. It hasn't registered a bearish confirmation just yet, but the fact that this thing is stalling at an ideal crab zone has me looking. It's kind of like this. We brought this one up about 2 weeks ago. This was Uber. Okay, Uber, much the same thing. A little 1618 coming back. Yeah, that might be ready for another retest here, but the big retest number on Uber is low 20s again. Taking its time. The final short idea, if you want some short ideas that I mentioned before, is Target was another one like these. Target had, where'd you go, Target? Target had a crab up here on the 4-hour. Let me see. It was. Oh, now it's a Gartley. That's a nice Gartley bullish on the 4-hour, but preceding this, let me go back to that. Let's bring this up. Look at Target. Oh, did I lose you guys again? I might lose you guys. All right, really quick, now that you're all asleep, first person to put in volume V3 wins a book. Next person to put in V3 wins a book. And I want to show you this target chart. V3. Let's go. Stupid head, V3, you win. Please, if you've won a book already, please let other people win, but stupid head, you win a V3. We'll give one more away towards the end. I'm going to wrap up here pretty soon anyway. But I want you to look at some of these situations that have given you. There's the shark on target. I know we mentioned this a couple of weeks ago, especially on the retest about 171. This is a type 1. Do we get a type 2? Let's see. But that one has worked out fairly well, where the shorter term patterns that are developing off these lows are signs that we have to pay attention to. To get the book, folks, you have to go to the Discord, okay, on Basic Members. So become a Basic Member on Harmonic Trader, and then scroll down on the Basic Members page, which is, there's the link for the Basic Members page. Click on that, and then go to number 4. Right here is the link for the Discord. And you send your name and address, postal address, to Miss Stephanie on the Discord, please. It'll jump there. Okay, I'll give one more away in a few minutes. That's a volume 3, and I'm only giving away volume 3s, folks. That's all I have. Okay. One or two more. Someone said SWN Energy, Southwestern. And it's actually not bad to finish up on some of the energy stocks. They seem to be holding up. I'm still not there yet. That's Southwestern Energy. That's a real speculative play that's really moved quite nicely, but there's Southwest Energy. Sloppy type 2 bat pattern, but I would regard that as resistance for now. Couple of those other speculative energy plays like Plug look like this. Yeah, and you have to scroll out to the long term, because last year was such a huge move, and then you're still within the midst of that downtrend. Things like Plug, what's the other one? F-Cell, Fuel Cell. Looking, I would wait on these as all 886s. Like this. Maybe there's an opportunity. Down there, 886 is what? 290? Almost kissed it perfectly twice. Hit it once. So maybe down there, 290 with a confirmation. The other one would be Blink. But haven't registered anything recently. No patterns. Really not a lot here just yet. What's this, a shark? All right, a big shark. Hop level, hop level is a lot lower. Terminal bar was 18, but here's the first confirmation just coming in the last 2 months. I think crude oil, and we'll have to talk about this on Monday, but the crude oil situation, I think, is kind of just grinding lower, even with the announcement of the cuts. So you had Saudi cuts. What's the price doing? Not much. You would think something like that would warrant a new campaign of lower inventory. But again, take a look. 4-hour chart, daily chart, just a counter trend reaction. Not a heck of a lot happening there. Let me bring up the other chart because I know these patterns are missing here. There you go. So we have to look for this back down to low 80s. Again, 82 really started to worry me. Okay, 4-hour time frame. Look, we've got a bat pattern right now, 88. Huh. We have a bat pattern at $88.60, which is the 886. Let's see how our harmonic that is, because line it up, give me confirmation and a type 1 move down to target 1. But that's a nice continuation pattern within multiple. Look at the last 4 bearish patterns. You have one there, you have one there, and now you have one here. So still lower. And I believe that if the market's going to be bullish, it's going to print bullish patterns on smaller time frames to trigger. This is printing continuation downtrend bearish patterns. Stick with it. I don't, not there. I think crude oil has probably more to come down before it's another long opportunity. So listen, leaving today, the market is flat. NASDAQ is back to flat. Dow, minus 140. S&P, minus 12. Keep an eye on today's close. If we can get something that can bust, I would say reaction on. If we cannot, and we cannot do something that surprises all of us by tomorrow, I would say this thing is going to grind and probably retest last week's low. I am looking for it today. We'll come on back. So listen, before I leave, the next person that can type V3 is going to win the last book of the day. You got to type it when I say it. After I say it, Harmonic. You can't just keep typing V3. Jordan saying Boyle's got a bullish bat. 3-bar breakout. We'll have to look at that. Let's save that for tomorrow. I still say nat gas is going to be lower. Kenneth, you win the V3. Kenneth, didn't you already win a V3? Guys, if you already won a V3, please. But contact Miss Stephanie. I will work it out later. Everybody else, come on back next week, next Thursday. I'll give away some more books. And we'll look at that Boyle. I like that Boyle. Maybe I'll take another shot at that Boyle because I like that. Oh, look at that. There you go. All right, maybe I do that for premium members. Maybe this will be what we'll start with next week. Boyle, around 48. Yeah, maybe it's time. We'll come back Monday. All right, everybody. Great session. Again, thanks. Big shout out to everybody that made it to Vegas or saw that. I had so much fun. And let's just keep doing that. Anyway, until Monday, as always, go get them. Have a great one. Have a great weekend. And we'll see you then, 12 noon, Monday.